Starting lineup, uniforms, and apparel present the WOA Senior AA Men's Hockey League podcast.
Hello once again, everybody. Andrew Rogers here, the host of the WOA Senior AA Men's Hockey League podcast. This is episode number 17. We're all the way up to 17 now. I want to thank Mitch Scott of Starting Lineup, Uniform and Apparel. He's our presenting sponsor. It's great to have him on board. It's a great episode we got coming up here for you today. It's a first in the podcast. 3 guests on at once, and it's an all-goalie featurette or feature. We have Tommy Lee from the Tillsonburg Thunder, Greg Dodds from the Clinton Radars, and Saugeen Shores netminder Jeff Flagler on the program today for the podcast. It's going to be an excellent show. So we also got a great amount of guests coming up. I'll make sure to share that page for you as well, giving you an idea of everybody that's coming up so you can plan when you want to watch and you can see who's going to be there so that you can get interested in that ahead of time. But the episodes are great, and they are a lot of fun for me anyways to be a part of it. It's great when you have a couple guests come on that just want to talk, and all I got to do is sit back and listen and ask the questions. So it's this has gone way better than I could have ever expected, and I owe it all to the people that have been on it. Everyone has been just absolutely fantastic, and everything that I've heard from others about the podcast, they've all had very nice things to say about it, so I honestly do appreciate that a lot. The viewership numbers are great, and the subscriber number on the YouTube channel are going up, so that's great too, and I really do appreciate everyone's support and everyone's viewership, and it definitely goes a long way. So as long as you guys keep watching and as long as you guys keep enjoying them, I will continue to put them out. So I thank you very much for that. So without further ado, we're going to welcome in our guests at this time. Like I say, it's a triple goalie feature on the podcast, episode number 17, WOA Senior AA Men's Hockey League podcast. We have from the Clinton Radars, Greg Dodds, from the Tillsonburg Thunder, Tommy Lee, and from the Saugeen Shores Winterhawks, Jeff Flagler. It's my great pleasure to welcome in our guests at this time. It's a podcast first, as we have 3 guests joining us, and they are some of the premier goaltending talent of the WOA that this league has to feature. We welcome in at this time Greg Dodds from the Clinton Radars, Tommy Lee of the Tillsonburg Thunder, and Jeff Flagler of the Saugeen Shores Winterhawks. Fellas, thanks for joining me, and welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks.
Guys, first question I normally ask everybody when they come on here is, COVID hit everybody a bit differently in terms of how their lifestyle had to change. I just wanted to know how you guys are doing, how you guys are coping with everything, and, if things have changed much for you since everything has happened and gone down. Greg, we'll start with you, pal.
For me, I'm a real estate agent, so I was pretty nervous when all this was going on, kind of what was going to happen. We were pretty fortunate to be listed as essential service, so I was able to keep working, and I've been pretty fortunate to stay busy throughout. I was kind of unsure what was going to happen with the market, but at least in my area, it stayed strong. So, I've been busy working every day, which is kind of why I was a little bit late getting here. But, obviously seeing friends and family, that's definitely changed, had an impact for sure. But besides that, just basically my life is just working, and that's about it, really.
Right on. Glad to hear that you've been still working. That's great, pal. Jeff, you want to go next, pal?
Yeah, sure. Really for myself, nothing's really changed. I work up at the Owen Sound Hospital, so I'm there 5-6 days a week anyways, as it is. Only thing that's really changed is not being able to get together with the fellas on the weekend, so that's been pretty brutal. But since the golf courses have been opened up the last month or so, you've been able to get together with them and stuff like that, so that's been good. Other than that, my family and friends have stayed COVID free, so pretty fortunate enough that way. So no complaints really. Just glad I've been able to work through this whole time.
Right on. And Tommy, round us out.
Well, we've been fortunate. I work with Chad Shores and Schubert, and we do shoreline restoration protection. So we're kind of essential service there, emergency services. So we've been going at it pretty hard. Some long days, especially with this nicer weather. But it's definitely affected the family life a bit. I got a young guy, he's 5 years old, Emerson, so I felt bad for him because his hockey season kind of came to a crashing halt, no closure for him. And my girlfriend runs a dance studio, so that's really changed how things have gone for her. She's really been using the Zoom meetings a lot. And but otherwise, we've been staying healthy and positive and, keeping on, trying to keep things as normal as possible, I guess.
Good, man. I'm glad to hear that. Jeff, I want to ask the first question to you because I know you were pretty banged up in that Tilsonburg series. It was pretty well documented, but you were still outstanding nonetheless. A lot of people praised your play in that series. How you doing now? Are you all healed up? And I guess kind of what happened in that series?
Yeah, so I'm all fine now. It was just my groin. Hurt my groin lots of times in my playing days. So, I mean, really the only thing you can do is rest with the groin. And I mean, the injury happened in the second game of the series. And at the end of the second game, we were down 2-0. So, I mean, really didn't have time to heal my groin properly, but I still wanted to play. So, I mean, I just did the proper precautions, did treatment on it during the week so I could play the next weekend. But after we got eliminated from Tilsonburg, I just took 3-4 weeks off doing basically nothing. And then I have a good buddy who does physio as well as acupuncture and stuff like that. So I just got him to work on me 2-3 times a week for those 3 weeks and just got back to normal after that. Just started hitting the gym again and getting my groin strong again and all back to normal now. So good to go.
Good. Glad to hear it.
Yeah.
Now I want to talk to Greg and to Tommy here because when COVID hit, you guys were right in the middle of your guys' best of 7. Greg Clinton just winning 3 in a row in 3 days over the weekend before, you had the chance at the series clincher and everything got suspended. So I guess for you guys, my question is this. How tough was it on you guys when you heard the news that the season was canceled and that there was no chance of coming back and resuming play and that there was no chance of figuring out who would have prevailed?
You want to start this one, Dodds?
Yeah, I mean, it was disappointing. Like, anytime you got a chance at getting to the finals, like, you want to get there and you're that close. You want to see if you can pull it off, right? And like you said, like we just stole 3, but, Tommy stole the first game and kind of proved that, he can come in and just doesn't matter who you're playing, right? Like if a goalie's hot, he's hot. So even though we took 3, it was still anyone's series in my mind. It was one weekend to play it out, right? And if Tommy got hot again like that, I mean, we put 50 shots, 60 shots at you that first game and scored once. Like you never know, and it was exciting. I was looking forward to it. I think they called it right in the middle of the day on Friday when we were supposed to play. So it was a bit of a heartbreaker, but I mean, obviously COVID's a bit bigger than this league and any league, as you can see, the NHL down. So it is what it is. Everyone's got to stay safe, but yeah, it definitely was disappointing.
Yeah, no doubt. Hey, but how about you, Tommy?
Yeah, I agree completely. Like I was pretty jacked up. Anytime you play like a big Friday night game in Clinton, like they're always packed in there. The energy's bumping. It's hard not to get up for a game. That's why we play. And I know, we'd miss Rebry there on the weekend for those kind of 3 games, and having him back in the lineup and kind of our full squad again, we were kind of really chomping at the bit to get going. And I don't know, who knows what would have happened, but it was, I think the only thing I haven't really done in this league, I've scored a goal, but I haven't had a fight, so I was maybe going to really looking to shake them to Dodds, see if they got up on us early. See if I get one of those under my belt before I leave.
Hey, you never know, You never know.
I want to ask you guys just about the season that was. I mean, no question, it was the most competitive season it's been, I think, ever in terms of the rule changes coming into place before the season started. And I think from top to bottom, this league was as unpredictable as ever, given on any given night, anyone could beat you. I guess if you have to look back at the season, just what do you take away from it? Tommy, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I mean, to touch on that, definitely the rivalries that were existing out there were as fierce as they've ever been since I've joined the league, and it was really exciting to play. Look forward to playing every game every night because, like you said, you never know what could happen any given night, who you're playing. You could get surprised or, maybe only have 1 or 2 beers on the bus ride up instead of 5 or 6 because you got to be on your toes. So, but yeah, no, all kidding aside, it was a lot of fun to play this year, and I really enjoyed it. It's unfortunate how it came to an end, but I'll definitely remember some of those good games that we had. We had a great season series against Clinton, some really, really good games with them, and then like we were kind of talking about before, I'd never played up in Saugeen Shores, and I was really looking forward to that. And that was, they got an electric atmosphere up there too, and they really like their hometown hockey. So that was definitely a pleasure to do that. So.
All right, Jeff, we'll go to you next.
Yeah, I mean, this year was just awesome because it didn't matter who you're playing. It was going to be a good game regardless. If you took a night off as a goalie, I mean, you're going to get shell shock, so it doesn't matter. So that's always nice. In previous years, I mean, you go into some places and it's just going to be a spanking. So that was really good. I mean, like Tommy just said, I've never played obviously in Tillsonburg in the 5 years I played in the league, so that was cool to go up there and stuff. See that rink. I mean, that's a great rink. I'm sure if it was filled with a lot of people, it'd be incredible. So yeah. I mean, other than that, just had a really good season with the fellas. And I mean, every year I'm not going to take for granted because you never know when it's going to be the last one. And so, yeah, just not taking anything for granted anymore and having fun.
Right on. Greg, round us off, Bill.
Yeah, I mean, a lot different than the year before for me. Obviously, this was my second year in the league. The rule changes came in and kind of hit us the hardest, I'd say, probably. Whether that was by design or not, we'll leave that for another day. But, it's different. We didn't have Doige, Sands at the start of the year. We didn't have Ansel, guys like that left deep holes, and Flemmer. The back end, I think, got hit the hardest. And I kind of thought it'd be a fun challenge for me to kind of try to step up. And then, we kind of got rinsed by Saugeen a couple times there. And I was like, oh, I don't know about this. But no, the young guys kind of.
You have the Sands and stuff, though. Before you had the Sands back.
Exactly, yeah. We got the good guys back, and then the things turned around. But no, our young guys that came in, I think they just kind of had to feel the league out a little bit and kind of, get their feet under them. And then we kind of gelled as a team. I think Ansel kind of touched on that when he was on here too. And, I think there's a game up in Petrolia in particular we played, and the vibe in the dressing room just kind of felt different. And after that, we kind of turned it around, and then we all started kind of having fun and loosening it up. And I think we finished 4th or 5th, but we were the last, probably 10 games of the year, we were rolling pretty good. So I was really looking forward to a deep playoff run again.
I want to ask you guys, because it's an interesting, it's very interesting, the goalie position specifically in this league. Because I was telling Jeff before we came on, like when you're a forward or a defenseman, you come in, you do your thing, and you go home. Like it's a very cut and dry position. But from a goalie's perspective, it's a lot tougher because, like Jeff said, you got to be on, and if you're not, you're going to get shell shocked. But it also allows you guys an opportunity to see the kind of talent that's in front of you. I want you guys to pick a player from your team that you were particularly impressed with this past season. We'll start with you, Jeff.
I mean, talent-wise on our team, you're probably looking at Miles McLean. I mean, he's got some skill that not many players do have in this league, and a shot that not a lot of players have in this league. So, I mean, that's the guy who I would look on my team to be dangerous every night. And, I mean, when we lost him in that series against Tillsonburg when he went away or whatever, that was probably a really tough thing for us because he could have definitely helped us. Not saying we would have won or anything, but he's definitely a player that can change the game.
Tommy, you next.
For sure, Miles McLean, or like you tell, he's definitely a difference maker when he's in the lineup, and you got to be sharp when he's on the ice. He's got an elusive shot. And, but for my team, it's hard to pick just one guy, but I think definitely this year kind of really kind of put a stamp down in the Saugeen series. There was Michael Rebry, and he was a big difference maker in that series. We've got a load of talent there too, just like every team. It's hard to pick just one guy. Ryan Stevenson had a phenomenal year. We had some good young talent come in. I think Staffy brought him in out of St. Thomas. We had Langer. He was a Saugeen Shores native, so I think he was kind of happy to get up there and play against his home team. But some of the younger guys really stepped up, and they jumped right into the fold, no problem, and definitely made us a better team because of it.
And Greg, to you.
Yeah, again, it's tough to just pick one. Like I think I'm just going to go with, Ansel on the back end. That guy can make passes that it blows my mind sometimes. Like the seams he finds to send guys on breakaways, it's crazy. But up front, it's got to be Soupy Campbell on our team. Like that guy, I mean, he's a skills coach for TPH. He works with NHL guys and is teaching them, skills in the summer. And some of the moves he pulls off on the ice, like, and his shot is just second to none out there. So it's kind of fun watching those two create plays and make things happen.
Hey, that's great. No, I had Ansel and Brad Burton on the podcast, and they were just phenomenal to talk to. Great guys. They just had the nice things to say about you as well. When it comes to playing in this league, it's obviously quite a privilege. And the thing is, for me, is the second I got involved in this league, all I wanted to do is see it get the recognition it deserves. You guys are just so superb in terms of talent that you deserve all the recognition that you can get. What's it like for you guys specifically, though, to play for your respective team? What's the selling point if you had to sell somebody on playing for the respective team that you play for? Greg, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know exactly what to expect coming to this league. I think there's kind of a persona. It's senior A. It is, it's just senior. But my first game, I got kind of thrown in halfway through. I still remember, and I was just the pace of the game. Even I was like, wow, like I was blown away by how much better it was than I was expecting. And I think Clinton in particular, like obviously our fan base is second to none. Like we have so much support. We're kind of the big show in town of Clinton. There's really nothing else there. So we got a lot of loyal fans that come out and support us, and it's always fun, to play in front of fans. But I think the volunteers, like the staff we have that come, and like we got tape and stuff, and they look after us. We got the trainers, we got a massage table out. Like they try to run it as close to a pro organization in terms of the the extra benefits they give us in terms of those services and those people. And they're there 2 hours before every game. They're ready to help us with anything we need. If it's skate sharpening, stuff like that. And those are all things that I really didn't expect to have going to senior A. And it really made my transition easier. That's for sure.
Right on. Jeff, you next, Paul.
Yeah, I mean, definitely the fans at Saugeen. We always have, a great crowd at every game. Most games are honestly pretty close to sold out. And in the playoffs, they're basically always sold out, which is awesome. And like going upstairs and having a drink with them afterwards and them talking about the game and just stuff like that's awesome. It's just a big community. Like Greg said, there's not much going on in Saugeen either. So we're kind of a bigger team there too. So just getting together with everybody. And, I'd say that was what a lot of my buddies told me when I went to Port Elgin, was that the community treats you very well. And I mean, you get little kids coming up to you asking you for an autograph, and you're playing senior A hockey, right? It's pretty cool to have that happen. So just the fans and the community. And I mean, obviously, like Greg said, the management's great, and we have trainers every season, and they're great at what they do. And it's just great that they come and volunteer their time like that. And that's just what I want people to say and know. So.
Right on. And Tommy, to you.
Yeah, I mean, I had the pleasure of playing in Clinton when I first came in the league, and I can, agree with Doddsy there and how world-class organization is, and their volunteers and their executives. But the same can be said in Tillsonburg easily. I love that old rink too. That rink is just awesome to play in, the old rafters, and it's kind of nostalgic. But definitely the volunteers, the ownership, Mike Hawley, our general manager, Bill Ryan, and then a huge shout out to our training staff, and a special shout out to Mike Atridge there. He just lost his wife recently, and
I heard that
passed away. But Mikey's been with the team for longer than I've known. I think he's been there from the start, and he's these guys are volunteers, and they're in there cleaning your visors, and they're doing laundry for guys and towels, and it's they're the unsung heroes in my opinion. And then just the community thing, the kids. I was fortunate to have my 5-year-old watch me play this year and try and mimic me at home when we're playing mini sticks, or have other kids, come up and, like Flags was saying there, and maybe ask you for an autograph. It kind of takes you back because you're like, well, I'm just playing, senior hockey here, but you still have an impact on them and they look up to you. And so, yeah, I'd say that's the biggest thing. The same with all the other guys, kind of.
Right on. I like that. That is the question, right? Is that like there's so many different things that influence why anybody would want to play this game. There's so many influences as to what drives you to be successful. I guess my question is to you guys is, who would you say is your biggest inspiration for why you play the game? What's the reason behind all of it? Jeff, start us off.
Well, For me, it's my dad. Was my dad. He passed away a couple of years ago. He was always my number one fan. Always was there for me. Always believed in me, even when I didn't believe myself. Even when I quit hockey when I was about 17, 18, I quit for a year, and he was all supportive and stuff like that. And after I finished junior hockey and stuff like that, serious hockey, he never missed a senior A hockey game for the 3 years he watched me play, no matter if it was in Petrolia or wherever it was. He was always there, and never had a bad thing to say, just always positive. So he was definitely my big motivation, and who I played for and still do play for.
Right on. I love that answer. Guys, we're going to just take a short break here, and then we're going to be right back after this with Greg and Tommy's answers. We're off and running again here. We're back after a little short interruption. But the question posed, as we have Jeff Flagler from Saugeen Shores Winterhawks, Tommy Lee from Tillsonburg Thunder, and Greg Dodds, the Clinton Radars. The question posed before we left you was who the biggest inspiration was for, why they're a goalie, why they're in the league as a goalie, and what drives them in the position that they're in. We got Tommy's answer before, Jeff's answer before, and we'll go to Greg here with his. Go ahead, Greg.
Sure. First off, just want to say, sorry to hear about your old man there, Flags. That's tough to hear. Me, kind of similar. It's, family as well. Like, my parents kind of stood by me my whole career. A lot of ups and downs for me, starting from when I was younger, getting cut from AAA, and then, cut from pretty much every single level all the way up to pro. And, they were there with me the whole way and always supported me and encouraged me to keep pushing. And they kind of, they knew I had the drive and, a little bit of talent to maybe get there. And without the financial sacrifices that they made and the, the time they put into it for me, I never would have been anywhere close to where I got. So definitely them.
Right on. And Tommy?
Yeah, definitely my parents, like big for them for the financial, sacrifice and the time commitment too. And my parents were blessed with two goalies. So my biggest inspiration was my older brother, Daniel. He was killed in a car accident when I was 19. So that was a really tough year for me. I was in Barrie at the time, and I really kind of hit rock bottom there and really fell from graces, I guess. So, so I wear his name on the back of my helmet and a little gesture to him, and he's kind of the reason why I kept playing. Because before he passed away, he told me that the biggest thing he regretted was quit playing hockey. So he quit playing hockey and got the regular job, the working man's job, and he always regretted it ever since. And he told me, whatever you do and whatever level you're at, just keep going and keep playing as long as you love it. So that's definitely the big reason why I came to senior and kept playing, and all these years why I kind of pushed hard to always know he's kind of helping me. Maybe a few extra posts come my way from him,
Yeah, no doubt. That's awesome, guys. I love all those answers. It's just fantastic. That's what this podcast is all about, is to try and get people to understand how real this is, and to put the spotlight on you, like the players, because like I say, you deserve the most. And I just want everybody to get in touch with how great this league is and how great the people are, and that it's more than just a game. And I think that's just so fascinating to hear that, guys. So I want to ask you, like, there is a lot of uncertainty about when and if a season is going to be underway. I was speaking on the podcast on Wednesday. I know that Gord Lamont, president of the Saugeen Shores Winterhawks, did a interview with Fred Wallace on Wednesday there, and was saying that his understanding is that they're approaching the league to go off as normal, as they would normally, without any interruptions come October. Is there any fear amongst you guys, though, that the season may not happen? Greg, we'll start with you.
I mean, like, the NHL's not back yet. I know they're trying, but we're a long way from there. So if they're not back, then I don't see us coming back. I really want to play. I'd love to. I can't remember the last time I went, September, October, and wasn't on the ice. So that's going to suck if that's what happens. But
sure.
I mean, it's kind of out of our hands here. I haven't really thought about it a whole lot, but it just kind of at the mercy of the people making the decisions. And obviously they're going to use the data they have in front of them to do what they think's best. And I just got to hope, some big changes happen between now and then and we can get back on the ice.
Right. Tommy, what do you think, man?
Yeah, it's kind of play the what if game, right? So it's kind of wait and see what happens. I usually try not to think too much about hockey over the summer. Kind of wait till maybe I'm old school, show up to training camp to get in shape and go from there. But we'll see what happens, I guess, as long as everyone's healthy and safe and we've got proper precautions in place, and we'll go forward when we can. But until then, here's hoping that we can kick our season off and hopefully for minor hockey everywhere. Because I know there's a lot of kids out there that are probably going to be missing it, probably more than we will. So
for sure, no question about it. Jeff, run us out.
Yeah, it's still a couple months away, so I mean, who knows? I mean, right now I'd say there's probably no chance that we're going to be playing again. I mean, I definitely want to play because I don't have any more fun than going to the rink with the boys and hanging around or whatever. But I mean, if they say we're coming back, then I'll feel safe and comfortable coming back and ready to play. And if they say, no, we can't do it, then I'll know it's for the right. So, I mean, there's a lot more smarter people deciding this than me. So just go with the flow and see what happens.
I understand that. No, absolutely. And like I say, I think that was the biggest thing for me. I know when the season got cut at the end there without any resolution in terms of a winner on either side, it was like, man, this is awful. Like, my heart was breaking enough, but I couldn't imagine being in the position you guys were as players to be put through that as well. And I guess if there is when and if there is a season, I think there is still a lot of unfinished business out there, especially for the 6 teams involved still going when COVID hit. Now, you guys have been around the game a long time. I know there's probably a million things that you can pick out of a hat in terms of trying to pick it as the best moments, but I'm going to ask you if there's one particular moment in your entirety of your goaltending career, if you guys can shed some light on that. It can be a good one, it could be a funny one, it could be both, either or. I just want to hear all about that. Jeff, do you want to start us off, or you want to pass it to somebody else first?
I mean, I've had a lot of good memories or whatever along the way. Won a few championships playing junior C, so those are obviously really cool. But like I go back to my minor or major Bantam year when we played Halton Hills in the AAA SCTA finals. Our team had never beaten them in the 6 or 7 years of our existence playing against them in any game of any form. So we finally beat them in the final game of SCTA when we were Grey Bruce, and no one ever expected us to do that. So that was probably the coolest moment that I can still remember that I'll never forget for the rest of my life. So that's probably the one.
Right on. Greg, do you want to go next?
Oh, yeah, mine probably when I was playing in Indy there in the Coast, getting my first pro win, or first ECHL win. It was kind of a crazy game. We're in Kalamazoo, and I was fortunate enough I had, a bunch of my family were there to watch it. And I got peppered with shots. It was just one of those games where you just kind of don't even have time to think. You're just playing, and the puck was just hitting me. And then after the game, it kind of sunk in. And, that was something I've been dreaming about for a while. I mean, I know it's not the NHL, but, in the Coast, you still you got an NHL logo on your shoulder. So I was as close as I got to it. But to me, that was definitely something I was proud of.
Right on. Right on. Tommy, finish this off.
Yeah, there's a ton of great memories. Part of a championship in Erie when I was younger. Went to Russia, under 17, represent Team Canada. That was a pretty cool experience. From the league, obviously scoring a goal a couple years ago in Petrolia. Maybe there's an asterisk because it's such a small rink. Like I think my 5-year-old probably could have shot one from the length of the ice there, but that was definitely a highlight, scoring that goal, and then just having bragging rights kind of throughout the year because there's a couple guys that had more points for right till like the bitter end, right? So that was looking chirps in the dressing room. I think Carl Wilson, Bub's there. He didn't have a goal all year until like the very end, so the boys were riding him pretty hard, and that was definitely a good experience, good memory there too. So there's just too many memories. The boys just parties after, before games, stuff like that. Christmas parties, there's too many good memories. So
yeah, that's good.
Just to add on the bragging rights there for scoring goals. As Beaner, who had more goals in the playoffs in junior A, me or him up in North Bay.
Well, I will.
That's outstanding. Now, so again, goalie in this league, very tough, no question about it. Can you guys, like, I wonder if there's a consensus here or if it's just going to be different guys all across the board. But who would you say is the most dangerous opponent that you faced this past season? Anyone can start. Doesn't matter. Take the reins.
Garrett Mears, probably, I would think, from Ripley. The guy can just shoot the puck and he's fast. I mean, you got to give it to him.
Yeah.
Are we picking a player or a team or what?
No,
what
a player.
Okay. I mean, I think every team has at least one player that I think about every night I play them, so it's kind of tough to just pick out one. I mean, Mears on Ripley, obviously, for sure, but I mean, Dodds, he doesn't see him because they're on his team, but there's a couple there that I don't like seeing. So, yeah, I don't know. That's tough to say. What number 17 on your team, Dodds? What's his name?
I'm not good at numbers.
He's an assistant captain. I can't think of his name.
Bonds it, maybe?
He's got a hell of a shot. He ripped a couple bar down shots on me this year that just went right through me, and in playoffs in previous years. So I'd say probably him. I think about the most. Yeah.
Tommy, who's your toughest player to play against?
Yeah, I don't know. I try not to zone in on that too much anymore because they're like Flags is saying there's usually a couple guys on each team that you got to be aware of when they're on the ice. I think Soupy's had my number for a few years here in Clinton. He seems to, score in bunches. When he does score, I either hold him off the score sheet completely or he lights me up. So Sands is usually getting about 5 or 6 breakaways against me a game too. So I'd say those guys.
Scores them though, eh?
Yeah, yelling at the D like he's open, he's coming, and he still gets through. He's just so fast, right? But yeah. I mean, it's such a good league though. Like Flag said, every team's got a potential threat out there on the ice pretty well all the time. So
the last question I want to ask all you guys is the part that makes this league so great is that a lot of people will say the same thing. It's camaraderie in the dressing room. It's the relationships you build with the players that you play alongside and just how important it is in terms of a team's success. Can you guys just speak to that a little bit in terms of each of your individual teams? Tommy, we'll start with you and we'll end with Jeff.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you have a good dressing room, that's when your team is going to see success on the ice too. You gotta be a tight unit there and have each other's backs. So in Tillsonburg, we've got a really tight dressing room. I feel, this year was probably one of the best out of them all in recent years. Just, the jokes, the antics on ice, keeping it light. It's a good escape to get away from life and go to the rink and forget about everything else and work and family life and stuff like that and just kind of let loose and have some fun. So
I like it. Thanks, Tommy. Greg, next to you, pal.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like Flags, you said a couple of times, nothing like going to the rink with the boys. And, in Clinton, I joined, like I said, kind of partway through the year last year. And that core group of guys had been there for years before I was there. And I could tell right away coming in, I knew most of them, throughout the years. That's one cool thing about this league is you're either playing with or against guys that you've kind of grown up playing with or against, right? So that kind of helped. But, yeah, like I said, really tight core group there. And that was a really, really tight team. And you kind of tell you're kind of growing as a family almost towards a championship. And that's any team I've been on that's ever made a deep run is, super, super tight. And like I touched on earlier, I think this year with the turnaround we had, that was kind of why we were struggling at the start of the year, I think. But, as the year progressed, everyone kind of got loose and kind of came together. And I think we were heading in that direction too. So I'm kind of looking forward to getting all the boys back in the room again and seeing what we can do.
Yeah, that race for the 5th is still alive there, Greg.
Yeah, definitely.
And Jeff, finish us off, pal. You're the last one.
Yeah, so, I mean, been playing league for 5 years, and for the majority of my team stayed the same. Definitely lost a couple players, gained a few players, but all the guys are just great guys, and it's fun going to the rink knowing you're going to see some of those guys because everyone's a different character in their own way. So it's fun when you get 20 different characters in one room. It's just a hoot, and you'll never know what that is like unless you're in that change room. So yeah, just the camaraderie with the guys it's always great, and there's always something new to laugh at every time you go to the rink.
That's awesome, man. That was perfect. Great way to end it. So I want to thank at this time my guests for coming on the podcast. From the Tillsonburg Thunder, Tommy Lee. From the Clinton Radars, Greg Dodds. And from the Saugeen Shores Winterhawks, Jeff Flagler. Guys, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. You're welcome back anytime. And thanks for doing this, really.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you. That was awesome.
Well, there you have it, folks. That was unbelievable. What a great conversation it was with those three gentlemen. Some of the top goaltenders in our league, Greg Dodds, Jeff Flagler, and Tommy Lee. We thank them for coming on and sharing their stories. It was great chatting with them, and I'm really hopeful to have them on again. Now, in terms of how we're moving forward, well, that's episode 17. It's in the books. We move on. New week, new slate of guests. It's going to be great. We have a lot of guests upcoming, and it's very exciting times right now in the podcast. So, in terms of this episode, like I said, it's done. 17's over. 18's onward and upward. Our next guest is this upcoming Monday. He is the trainer of the Minto 81s. His name is Bradley Craven. So this is going to be interesting to talk to one of the trainers, get his take and perspective on this great league that we know and love. But as I mentioned, it was a wonderful episode today to be able to speak with these three, and we thank them once again. Jeff Flagler of the Saugeen Shores Winterhawks, Greg Dodds of the Clinton Radars, and Tommy Lee of the Tillsonburg Thunder. We want to thank Mitch Scott of Starting Lineup, Uniform and Apparel, and I want to thank you, the viewer, for tuning in to another episode of the WOAA Senior AA Men's Hockey League podcast. I am Andrew Rogers, your host, saying so long, have a nice weekend, and we'll see you on Monday.